We have made it to the start of May here in year number 7 with the Chicago White Sox. Through the first 31 games of the year, it's been a season so far. I mean, I wouldn't say the team is great, but we're definitely not bad. We're better than we were last year at this point, which doesn't really say a whole lot. But we haven't played very well over the last couple of weeks. We've lost each of our last 4 series, including taking just 1 of 4 at home against a really good Royals team. And of course, this division is ultra competitive. Right now, we're currently in 4th place, 3.5 games back of the top spot. Cleveland, Detroit, and Kansas City all ahead of us, although it probably is a little too early to really worry about the standings. It's the start of May, and as long as we're still in the mix, I don't think we need to focus on where we are in terms of the standings placement, at least not yet. Once we get into the summer, that's when maybe we can really start to focus on that. The offense, though, has been really impressive through the first 31 games of the year. We're hitting the ball really, really well. In terms of batting average, we're 6th. And remember, at this point last year, we were in dead last. We're tied for 3rd in home runs, only behind the Tigers and the Phillies. We're drawing walks at a decent clip. We're slugging at a high rate. The offense has been really solid, and the big reason for that is these two at the top. Randy Arozarena has been worth every penny so far. He's already homered 11 times, hitting about 350, OPS nearly at 1,100. This guy is an absolute animal, but the crazy part is you could argue he's maybe been the second best player on the team. Kyle Teel has been elite. His OPS is above 1,000 as well, also is a 2.3 WAR, and he's doing it playing catcher at a very high level defensively. So these two guys are having absolutely absurd seasons. They're tied for 3rd in the American League in WAR, although they're a whole 1.5 behind Max Clark, who's just on a total another planet in Detroit, has nearly a 4 WAR, and we just started the month of May, which is nuts. The highest in the National League, for reference, is only 2.1. Nonetheless, I would expect both Arozarena and Teel to be in the mix for the MVP, unless Max Clark continues this projection and finishes at like 20, which would be the greatest individual season in the history of the sport in the modern era. Other than Arozarena and Teel, though, it's been an up and down start for the rest of the group. And we need the other guys around them to step up because we can't expect these guys to continue to play at this level. I expected more from Schmidt. Edgar Quero has been a little disappointing. I think Waldo and Ramos have been good, but the other guys need to kind of step up. Cam Smith is hitting like 150. Justin Crawford has been so-so. The reason why, though, we're only 3 games above 500 is because our quote-unquote third-ranked pitching staff has not been very good so far. 24th in ERA, not great. None of our starters have lower than a 4. We are second to last in terms of hits. We are tied for 12th in terms of walks allowed, 19th in home runs allowed, and we're 7th in strikeouts. So the theme here is that we actually have a pretty average pitching staff, except for the hits, which is towards the very bottom of the league. We've got to do a better job of avoiding base runners and avoiding allowing base hits. Noah Schultz was supposed to be our ace, and he hasn't been bad. It hasn't been great. Drew Thorpe has started slow, although he has more of an excuse. He missed all of last year of Tommy John. He hadn't pitched in 18 months. And he has had some good starts, including most recently 7 innings, only allowing 1 against Baltimore. Ezra Valenzuela, though, has been quite disappointing. So in the last episode, we begun the experiment of him being a starting pitcher because I think our bullpen is in a spot where we don't need him in the bullpen. Bruno Merced is not giving up the closer spot, and it would be a waste of his talent to have him as a middle reliever. He started the year off strong. He looked solid on opening day, only allowed 1 run over his next 2 starts, but it has really gone downhill since then. Now, he's only started like 6-7 games, so I'm not going to give up on the experiment yet. We only have 1 month worth of a sample size, but he's cold right now. He's got to step it up. As I mentioned, Bruno Merced has become the full-time closer, although he's only converted 55% of his saves this year. But the whip is low, the advanced metrics are fine. I'm sure he will get back to business. And then in terms of the rest of the bullpen, it's been good enough, I suppose. Justin Slayton, who he drafted in the 2nd round of the Rule 5 draft, he's been really good. And then Will Bednar, we recently called up to the rotation. Jagger Haynes started the year in the rotation. He was struggling. We also had Grant Holmes to be our innings eater, but he's hurt. So we've rolled with Bednar, who had a great spring, and we're hoping he can carry that over. So we're going to get through May and June today, getting close to the draft and the All-Star break. 2 months in one episode. Buckle up. We're going to start with one of these games against the Phillies, who are actually really good this year. They're 20-12. They lead the NL East by a lot. Remember last year they were one of the worst teams in the league, but I guess that was a one-year wonder, and the Phils are back to business. So before that, we've got 3 on the road in Tampa against the Rays, who are pretty solid, 19-13. We'll hop into this first game. We're up 5-3. Bruno Merced has allowed a couple of hits as he looks to get the save. Merced again, he's only converted 5 of his 9 saves this year, as Connor Wong sends it into left for a base knock. Rays will look to score. They're going to send the second runner to third, and he is out of there. That was a pretty stupid decision by the third base coach. They would have had the tying run in scoring position with only 1 out. Now they need a base hit from Carson Williams, who is hitting like 340. Oh, come on. Is that not a strike? That was in the zone. Wow, what a call. And that'll keep the game going. That would have ended it. 2-2 for Carson Williams. Ball don't lie. He goes down on the palm ball. And the White Sox win the first game of the episode, the first of 3 in Tampa Bay against the Rays, 5-4. Edgar Caro with a 3-run shot, headlining a 4-run 4th inning. Caro also drew 2 walks in this game as well. Drew Thorpe, really solid start. 6 innings, 3 earned. Started off a little rocky, led up 2 in the first, but really rebounded after that. He did a nice job. Now in the final game against the Rays, we ended up winning the second one, so we're going for the split. Problem is the offense hasn't shown up, but luckily Will Bednar has. It's scoreless with the bases loaded in the 7th, and we're going to bring Kyle Teal in off the bench, who's in the midst of an 8-game hitting streak. He is ahead in the count, 1-0, with the bases juiced against Trevor Stephan. Teal puts it on the ground up the middle. Play is made. Backhanded throw. What a play by Tampa Bay to end the inning. Great job by Bryce Matthews, the former first-round pick of the Astros. We would not end up hopping back into the game. We do get the win, though. A solo homer by Edgar Caro again ends up being the key. We win it 1-0 and sweep a very solid Tampa Bay Rays squad. And the homer by Caro in the 9th came off of the former White Sox Edwin Uceta, who of course was on our team in the bullpen last year. Offense wasn't very good. 5 hits, 5 walks, but the pitching was great. Will Bednar was awesome. He did allow 5 walks, but no one scored, which is obviously the important thing. Uceta with the loss. He has had a good year, 2.7 ERA. The other game we played, we won 5-3. Edgar Caro homered in this game as well, so he ended up going deep in all 3 against the Rays. Good to see him getting going because I thought he had kind of a disappointing April. That's 3 games in a row, and 5 of his last 10, he had a multi-home run game against the Royals. So he's really starting to get going, which is a big deal because obviously he is one of our best players. So now we're headed to Philadelphia. The last time we played at Citizens Bank Park was Game 7 of the World Series in Year 5. Of course, we lost that game. I'm going to pitch with Noah Schultz, who allowed the big home run out of the bullpen in Game 7. We lose the first one 3-2. Ezra Valenzuela got the start. He was fine. I mean, he wasn't great, but he wasn't that bad. Jared Kelenic, 3-run homer. That was the only source of runs for the Phillies. That's been the problem for Ezra. The long ball, again, that's been an issue for him this year, just as it was last year. If not for the 3-run homer by Kelenic, he would have pitched a shutout. But that's obviously not what happened. So let's go into Game 2 against the Phillies. And not only are we looking for revenge from the World Series a couple years ago, but it's also the return for a couple guys on our squad. Obviously, we acquired Justin Crawford last year at the deadline when the Phillies were selling, but it's not just him. Randy Arozarena, who's hitting .349 over his last 32 games, is also returning to Philadelphia. You may forget this, but Randy Arozarena was also on that World Series team, but he was hurt when they won it all. He was healthy when they won it the year before, though. So both Arozarena and Crawford, 2-time World Series champs, patrolling the left and center spots in the Phillies outfield. Now here they are with us. And the funny thing about this hot streak for Arozarena is that it's basically his entire season. He's played 35 games this year. 32 of them were shown with those stats. So basically the whole year. He's cold right now. His average is all the way down to .331. As Andrew Painter gets the start for Philadelphia. A couple of high draft picks battling it out. Painter for the Phils. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Noah Schultz, of course, for the White Sox, who we'll take a look at shortly. Rosarena leads things off. The former Philly, who goes down on the fastball. He's bounced around in recent years, but has been awesome everywhere he's gone. Caro 2-2, swings at a pitch in the dirt. Yikes. Throw to first is in time. A 1-2-3 inning for Andrew Painter. So let's take a look at Noah Schultz on the bump for the White Sox. The last time he was in this building, Game 7 of the World Series, coming out of the bullpen, where he allowed the big 2-run homer by Bryce Harper, which ended up being the difference, given that we lost the game by 2 runs. Bryce Harper's getting the day off. I kind of figured they'd play him. Harper's in the final year of his 13-year contract. He's better against lefties at this point, so I don't know why he's out. And they're also not playing Douglas Cato, who's better against lefties too. I was really looking forward to seeing him because he's actually having a pretty nice year. Interestingly, with Schultz, he has a 4.11 ERA and a 1.34 whip, which is nearly identical to the marks he has in his career. You'd think for a younger guy who's had some really good seasons, his career ERA would be a little higher than 4. But given some of the inconsistencies he's had, particularly that 2029 season, where he was really good in the postseason, he didn't allow a run until the 2-run homer by Harper. Trey Turner leads us off, and he rips this one into the corner, out and left. Not as fast as he once was, but he can still move. Into second, sliding safely with a double. Good relay by Rosarena. And Trey Turner is injured as he slid over to second base. When the injury thing popped up, I was really worried it was for Randy running into the wall. Luckily, it's not. So Turner's actually the DH. You would think they'd go for Harper or they'd go for Douglas Cato, who's really fast. But instead, it's Keith Rockwell, the backup catcher. And aside from the fact that he's a worse hitter than those guys, could his lack of speed hurt them in this instance as he goes for third? Throw from Teal is in time! Douglas Cato would have been safe standing up had they brought him in. It's not like those two guys really needed a day off. They're both platoon players for the Phillies. I don't know why they wouldn't play either Harper or Cato in this game. It doesn't make sense. As Luis Garcia strikes out, we'll move top 2. Justin Crawford, the former Philly, his first time back in this. Well, technically, game 1 of this series was his first time back, but you know what I mean. He flies out to center, his old spot. It's caught by Cole Carrig. It's not the first time Crawford's played against the Phillies. When we traded for him last year, his debut with the White Sox was against Philadelphia, but it was in our stadium. Kyle Tucker draws a walk. As good of a season as our guy Kyle Teal has had, Teal doesn't even have the highest OPS in this game for someone named Kyle T. Tucker's is even higher. As Paul Samuels goes down on the slider, a little lefty-on-lefty crime. Good work there by Schultz, who's looked good early in this game. It's been a pitching duel between Schultz and Painter, only 1 base hit and 1 walk combined. As Brian Ramos skies this one high into the air and right. Back at the track, at the wall, it is gone! Solo shot for Brian Ramos, and that'll get the scoring started. A 1-0 lead, only 348 feet. Really taking advantage of this being a hitter-friendly ballpark. Would not have been a home run in a lot of other places. But hey, we'll take it. All home runs are created equal. As long as it goes over the fence, it did its job. Braden Montgomery now up for the White Sox, swinging a miss on the fastball. BMO getting some extra playing time with Mike Trout's injury, and he's been he hasn't been horrible. As that one bounces off the wall from Rosarena, an unlucky bounce that will force him to stay at first base. But it is a 1-out single for Randy, and we'll see if we can drive him in, look to add to the lead. Kyle Teal, 336 average, as he swings and misses at the fastball. The White Sox leave a runner aboard, but they do score with a leadoff solo home run for Brian Ramos. Bottom of the third, the first baseman, Ricardo Perez, getting the start for Bryce Harper, is up. And Perez launches this one into right center. That one is gone, and we're tied at 1. Okay, so maybe that's why Bryce Harper is not playing in this game. They felt good with Ricardo Perez, who's a lefty and hits below 200, but I guess they know more than we do. Top of the 4th, tied at 1. Both teams trading homers in the 3rd as Caro places that one into left field. That'll go for a single. So a leadoff hit for Chicago to open things up. We've got a runner aboard for Shane Schmidt, who swings and misses at the fastball. A lot of whiffs early in this game from the White Sox. Painter is definitely a strikeout guy. You can see that early in this game. Cam Smith, that one gets away behind the plate. Will advance the runner over to second, so we've got a guy in scoring position. And that hurts the chances significantly of a double play. Smith over to short. Going to be a tough throw to first. Not in time. An infield single for Smith. We get another base runner. The wild pitch proves to, I guess, not really be that helpful. But now there is a force out at all three bases for Justin Crawford. And you gosh darn best believe he's going to put it on the ground. Now, luckily, they're not able to get two. It's not an easy play to make it second. And honestly, impressive that the Phillies even got one there to begin with by Luis Garcia. 2 on, 2 away. Ooh, that's a good take by Waldo. That was a full count. He could have easily gone down looking to end the inning. Instead, Brian Ramos will, but with the bases loaded. So Painter gets out at the jam, and it remains tied at 1. Chicago doesn't get anything out of that, which might be the least surprising sentence I've said all day. Aiden Miller gets hit by the sweeper. Miller has had a phenomenal year. He might be the very best player in this year's free agency class. Brooks Lee on the ground, should be 2. 6-4-3, double play. Good work by the infield to turn a pair. Brooks Lee signed a big contract leaving our rival Minnesota, one of the better power-hitting infielders in baseball. Kyle Tucker hits it well into right. Bemo at the wall. What is he doing? That goes off the wall. It is a double for Tucker. Good job by Justin Crawford to get over to the ball. I don't know what Braden Montgomery was doing. So now there's a runner in scoring position. Samuel swings at the sweeper. Not even close to the strike zone. What a pitch by Noah Schultz as we look at the starter comparison. Both guys playing really well. Schultz has looked good for us. Painter has struck out 6. He's been impressive for the Phillies as we move into the 5th. Braden Montgomery, 2-2. And he goes down on strikes again. It's the low changeup. That's 7 for Painter. Can he get another one here against his former teammate? Randy Arozarena launches it into left field, and that one is out of here. 388 feet for Arozarena, who homers in this ballpark for old time's sake. His 12th of the year, and we're in the first week of May. For reference, the White Sox back on top. All 3 combined runs in this game have been off of solo homers. Cole Carrig goes down looking. Schultz gets through the 5th. Remains 2-1. He's playing a really good game on the mound. He's having probably his best start of the year so far, and I don't see any reason to take him out. I feel like he's gotten better as the game has gone along. Johan Duran's long-lost American-born cousin Roy is out of the bullpen for the Phillies. He'll start with Cam Smith, 179 average. Lines it to first. Nice scoop by Ricardo Perez for the second out. Justin Crawford now quiet in his homecoming to Philadelphia as he jams the inside fastball. That's going to drop for a hit. Crawford around first. He's digging for second. The throw is not in time. A 66-mile-an-hour double for Justin Crawford. And there's a fast runner in scoring position for Waldo, who flies this one into right. It is caught as it remains 2-1. Pretty good inning from Roy Duran. Bottom 6, Schultz at 79 pitches. Pitch count's at a reasonable spot. He's got time, I feel like, as Keith Rockwell singles into center. Maybe he's got a little less time after that. And maybe the Phillies didn't make that bad of a decision by going with Rockwell over Harper or Cato, who both mash lefties and are both very healthy. Brooks Lee hits it high and deep into left. Arozarena at the track, at the wall. He makes the catch, as that one was only a few feet away from putting the Phillies ahead, but it's just not quite able to. 2-1 going into the 7th. Jamie Plantini. That is a cool name. It rhymes. Out of the pen for the Phils, 5.71 ERA on the year. Randy Arozarena, base hits in each of his last 2 at-bats, including a homer to put the White Sox ahead. They don't want to pitch to him, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to throw to him either. The problem is they have to throw to Kyle Teal, who's right behind him. Teal launches it up the middle. It gets by the shortstop. It'll roll all the way to the wall. 118 off the bat. Arozarena around third. Digs for home. Not in time! An RBI double for Kyle Teal that scores Randy Arozarena all the way from first. The White Sox make it 3-1. Caro checks his swing. Did not go around. Good take on the splitter. That might have hit the very bottom part of the zone. I could have easily called that strike 3. Full count. Caro rips it into right center. That'll go for a hit. Teal will score, and it's 4-1. Chicago, the two catchers, Teal and Caro, coming up big here in the 7th, giving us a little insurance. We will stretch and we will head bottom 7. Kyle Tucker checks his swing. A great pitch. Up and in for Noah Schultz, who's now in the triple digits. Paul Samuels draws a walk after his 2 strikeouts earlier in the game. So a runner aboard here for the Phillies. Samuels digs for second. The throw is not in time. So no double play. And now Samuels, who's fast, is in scoring position. The 1-2 for the catcher, Drake Baldwin, who goes down on the sweeper for the second out of the inning. That'll send us to the number 8 hitter, Ricardo Perez, the only run source for the Phillies today. On the ground to second, Waldo with the scoop, the snag, and the throw to first. 7 innings for Noah Schultz. We've got a big decision to make with him because he's pitching great right now. We could easily try to keep him in for the 8th if we want. The Phillies are going to make a pitching switch. Miguel Castro is out of the bullpen. 6.5 ERA this year. He's been not very good. Phillies paid him a lot of money, and he was really good for a while. This has not been his year. With 2 away, Waldo grounds it to short. Brooks Lee, throw to first, is not in time! Kids, this is why you hustle. Great job by Oswaldo Escobedo to outrun the grounder. Ramos now swinging a miss. Waldo is going for second. Ramos nearly safe at first. He should not have swung at that pitch. That was pretty stupid. 4-1, bottom 8. Noah Schultz will remain in the game. We're going to roll with the hot hand. Rockwell swinging a miss on the sweeper for the second out. This is the longest start that we've had a starting pitcher go this year. Luis Garcia, grounder to second. Waldo, the throw to first, is in time. 1, 2, 3. We'll go to the 9th. Noah, if your arm feels good, we'll keep you in. We'll give you the opportunity to go for that first career complete game. The Phillies are going to bring in Matt Brash. 4.24 ERA, the longtime Mariner reliever. We'll see if we can add to the lead. If we put up a lot of runs here, maybe we won't keep Schultz in the game. 1 away for Randy Arozarena. That one goes into right, and he reaches base for a 4th consecutive time. I mean, that's what he's done all year. This guy's an on-base machine. Contact, power, walks. He does everything. 2 away. Edgar Caro, chopper to short. Brooks Lee sends it over to second as we go to the bottom of the 9th. A bold decision by the White Sox. Noah Schultz against the heart of the order. Miller, Lee, Tucker. That's their 3 best players who Schultz is going to face off against for the complete game. 3-2, Aiden Miller with a liner into left. Arozarena at the wall, it's gone. 388 for Aiden Miller. That'll make it 4-2. The leash going into the inning for Schultz was 1. If he lets up even 1 base runner, we're going to yank him. He lets up a homer. It's a pretty easy decision. I wanted to have him go the entire way, but we can't do anything stupid. 8 innings, 2 runs, what a night for Noah Schultz. Trying to defeat the ghost of World Series past, I guess. Bruno Merced is in for the save. He's been good so far in May, 3 for 3 against the Rays, all 3 of those games. Paul Samuels, 2 away, 1-2. Grounder to third, this should do it. Ramos, the throw to first, is in time. An anticlimactic finish. Merced retires the side, and the White Sox win it 4-2. Quality win for Chicago. Noah Schultz was certainly the story of this game. He was absolutely amazing. 8 innings. The longest outing we've had a guy go this year. Only lets up 2 runs, strikes out 7. Only lets up 7 base runners. He didn't win the player of the game, though. And it's hard to argue with the choice of Randy Arozarena, who had 3 hits, a walk, a homer, and he scored twice. Ramos homered. Teal and Caro drive-in runs as well. But again, I think Noah Schultz's performance was easily the big takeaway from this game. And sure, the Phillies were shorthanded. They didn't play Harper. They didn't play Cato. Trey Turner got hurt. So it was largely the B team. But still, he pitched really well. So we're still 3 back in the division, even though we're off to a good start today, 4-1. We've got a big stretch of games coming up. So after we've got the Phillies, it's the Mets and the Reds at home. The Reds have been really bad this year. But then look at this. Cubs on the road. They're 25-12. And then the Royals on the road, 21-15. Cleveland on the road, 24-12. That's 10 straight days with road games, 7 of which are against division rivals, and the other 3 are against the crosstown rival. So let's get to that game against the Cubs. We've got 7 in between, and unfortunately we get some bad news. Torn finger ligament for Bruno Merced. Shane Schmidt also suffers a minor shin injury. But the injury to Merced really sucks because, this is our closer. He was a little up and down earlier in the year, but he's really gotten going since. He's played some great baseball. He had 4 saves early. Would have gotten the 5th had he not gotten injured. We're going to bring up Joey Smith, who's been great in AAA. Played really well in a limited role last year. He wasn't very good in the spring, which made the decision with him easy to not put him on the opening day roster, but we will give him the chance now. Jojo Romero will be the closer. He didn't do a very good job as the closer last year. It would be kind of funny if we put Ezra there, but I feel like we've just got to stick it out with him as a starter. Broken forearm for Oswaldo Escobedo, out for 2 to 3 months. He'll go on the 60-day. That is really unfortunate. Waldo had a really good season last year, broke out onto the scene. Very similar numbers this year. Average and on base is identical pretty much. Slugging's about 100 points lower, but he's still been really solid for us. He's found a niche role, and now we're not going to have him until like July or August. So we're going to bring up Richie Lindsay, one of the top prospects in the organization, who's technically making his MLB debut. And I say technically because he played for us in the playoffs last year. When we had all those injuries, we brought him up in the ALDS against the Rangers, and then he also got hurt. Missed a couple games, returned for the ALCS against Detroit. So technically, these are going to be the first games of his career that count in the record books. But he's played not just in the big leagues before, but he's played in the playoffs. And if he can do that, then I would think a regular season game in May, he hopefully won't have too many nerves. As he runs out to second base, had a great season in AAA. 4th-round pick just a couple of years ago. A guy who the scouts discovered and clearly hit on. 136 at-bats in AAA. He's played really well. 279 average, 810 OPS. We had him on the 40-man. He wasn't very good in spring training. And much like Joey Smith, it was kind of an easy decision to not have him start on the big league roster. But with the injuries, we call him up. He'll be batting in the 8th hole today against the New York Mets. As Will Bednar gets the start, he'll face off against Brandon Sproat. The Mets are already on the board. Drew Gilbert with a solo homer. Curious what kind of game we're going to get from Will Bednar today. He had a really bad start, then a really good start. Hopefully we can build upon that. Get another really good start. Runner at first base, 2 away. Lindsay, the 28th ranked prospect in all of baseball. 2nd ranked second baseman, 3rd in the White Sox organization as he looks at the first pitch. That one is fouled away. Fastball at 96. We'll show the entirety of his first at bat, even though, again, technically it's not. But you get the point. 1-1 for Lindsay. That one is inside for strike 2. And now Lindsay finds himself behind in the count 1-2. He's a little bit better naturally against lefties. I do want him to play against righties quite a bit and improve as he goes down on the fastball. So a good job by Sproat to get added the 2nd inning. As we will fast forward a little bit to the 5th, and things have gotten ugly. Jose Ramirez solo homer. Drew Gilbert 3-run shot. We did not get the good version of Will Bednar today, while Brandon Sproat is still in the game. The 1-2 for Lindsay is flown into center. Gilbert, who's homered twice and has drove in 4, makes the catch for the 2nd out of the inning. Now into the bottom of the 7th. We're on the board. Cam Smith, RBI double. That'll make it 5-1, and we've got a runner in scoring position against the subscriber-made international free agent Soranzo Bonifacio, as that'll be a walk. Lindsay's got really good plate skills, really good plate discipline. Oh my goodness, we have the lead! Arozarena, Teal 3-run homer. Ramos brings in a run. It's 6-5 as James Karinchak, the former White Sox, is in the game. Karinchak was one of our highest-rated players at the start of the series. The wheel forced us to trade him away. We ended up acquiring this journeyman starter reliever hybrid. Yeah, Hayden Wisniewski. That ended up being a pretty good move for us. Hayden Wisniewski, by the way, leads the American League in pitching war so far this year. He's been excellent in Boston. As it's 3-1, Richie Lindsay chops it up the middle. The throw to first by Karinchak is in time. We'll see if we can hold on for the win. Again, Bruno Merced is hurt. He can't get the save. It'd have to be Jojo Romero, which he does. And we end up winning the game 6-5. So a come-from-behind win, a game that we started down 5-0, but the offense rallied. The bullpen was really good down the stretch. This is a really good win. I mean, we stole this game in a lot of ways from the Mets. We got 1 in the 6th, 4 in the 7th, and then another in the 8th. Brandon Sproat had a great start, but the bullpen choked it. Randy had 3 hits. Ramos had 3 hits. Teal had a 3-run homer. Bednar wasn't great, but it was Jagger Haynes who really pitched well and led us to the win. 15-4. Brian Ramos has homered twice. This is the final game against the Mets. We're looking for the sweep. And it's on Mother's Day, so we've got the pink bat. I hope Brian Ramos' mom is having a really good day. Although that pitch was in the zone. You got to empty the clip with 2 strikes up by 11. We would win the game, though, 15-4. Really good series offensively against the Mets. We scored 9 in the first game, 6 in the second, and then 15 in the third. And so far today, we're 8-1. Swept the Rays, 2 on the road in Philadelphia, and then we swept the Mets. So that poor stretch that we had at the end of April was clearly a fluke. Jackson Wiggins did not make it out of the first inning where we scored 6. We then got 6 in the third. We were up 13-0 after 3. Ezra had a good start, and then obviously the offense. I mean, not much more needs to be said. Against the Reds, we ended up losing the first game. Here in game 2, Drew Thorpe's got a complete game shutout going. Bryce Terang flies it into center. That one should be caught, and it will by Crawford. Thorpe is at only 82 pitches, so he's got a real good shot to complete the Maddox. Carter sends it into center. That one high and deep at the track, at the wall. It's caught by Crawford again. And Drew Thorpe, who's having one of the best games of his career, finish off the job. The 8th pitch of the at-bat to Luis Arraez, and that one also goes into center. Crawford is under it, and it is caught. What a night for Drew Thorpe. 9 innings, only 92 pitches. A Maddox, our first complete game of the year. By far the best start we've had anybody get this year, easily surpassing Noah Schultz's game against the Phillies. He struck out 6, only let up 3 base runners, 2 hits and a walk. Really tough outing for the Reds offensively. We didn't hit the ball that much better either. Cam Smith had a homer in the second, a Rosarena with an RBI in the third. Daniel Schneemann had 3 hits. Nobody else at the plate was that good, but it didn't matter because Drew Thorpe is that dude. We're looking for the series win now against the Reds, and we should be able to get it. The pitching's been phenomenal again, and we're up 7-0 as Kyle Teal looks for his 3rd homer of the game. Facing off against another subscriber-made international free agent, Xaviano Elio, lefty on lefty, as it is a 4-pitch walk. We did not get a pitch to hit, and we're not going to force it. Unfortunately, Teal does not get the 3rd homer, but we will win the game 7-0. So we win the series against the Reds. 4 series wins to start the episode. We're 10-2 now, going into our pivotal 10-game road stretch against the Cubs, the Royals, and the Guardians. So we're on a roll going into those games, which is a big deal. We've got some momentum. We're feeling good. The offense has played well recently, although they were a little spotty in this series. They only scored 3 in the first 2 games before a nice showing here. Teal homers twice, Schmidt homers again, Spencer Schwellenbach, 6 scoreless. He was great, bullpen was great. The Reds have not scored since the opener. Our starting pitching's a big reason why we're 10-2. All 5 starters have had great outings today. Every single one of them. Schwellenbach's had 2. Even Ezra against the Mets, I thought he played a really good game, only allowing 5 base runners. So with the starting rotation playing well, it does kind of feel like the sky can be the limit for this team as we go into this huge 10-game stretch. If we can win 6 games, 5 or 6 games, I would be content with that. Cleveland and Kansas City are right with us. They're right behind us in the playoff race. The Cubs have been even better than us as we will start in extra innings. Top of the 10th. We lost the first game, so we certainly don't want to lose the series. 2 on, 1 away for Shane Schmidt against the star closer Brandon Williamson. This one is on the ground. 3-6-3. Inning-ending double play. This team is hilariously predictable. The Cubs would, in fact, walk it off in the bottom of the 10th inning. Chase DeLauder with an RBI single. So the Cubs win the series. We've already matched our loss total over these last 2 games for the entire first half of the month. We did not hit the ball great, especially with runners on base. We got 10 hits, but we didn't drive guys in. Ezra Valenzuela had the best start of his career. 7 innings, only allowed 1 run. He was awesome. Bullpen was very spotty. I think it was Sancion who allowed the 2 in the 8th, and then the offense didn't do enough. Mike Trout is back, though, and we win the last game against the Cubs. A Rosarena and Smith homer. Noah Schultz, 7 scoreless. This rotation is on fire and fuego. We only take one, though, against the Cubs, which is not great. But we've got some guys playing well. Cam Smith is playing a lot better, 385 over his last 10 with 4 homers. We have Mike Trout back, who looked really good in the first 4 games of the year. 12 at-bats, he scored 6 times. Claudio Rubio was pretty good in his place, but we are going to send him back down to AAA. So now against the Royals, it's 7-5. This is the third and final game. We split the first 2, so we're looking for the series win. Bottom 8, bases loaded, 2 away, and a 2-run game for Roger Lerma. Ahead 3-1, draws a walk. That was JoJo Romero's first batter. He just came in the game. We had to bring the closer in early because Joey Smith, the youngster, led up 3 runs earlier. Nico Horner sends it into right. Trout is after it. I guess that could have gone worse. We did let up 3 in the 8th, but Romero gets out of the bases loaded jam. He only lets up the 1 off of the walk. And most importantly, we still have the lead. Is it 6-7? We'll travel now into the bottom of the 9th. JoJo lets up another walk. It's Bobby Witt Jr., not the guy you want to walk with his 98 speed. Sean Rose is up. He will go for the bunt. And do we have a chance for second? Romero tries, but then hesitates. And we don't have a chance to get Rose out at first. If he had just went to first base originally, we could have gotten that out, but instead it's an error. The 4th error of the game for the White Sox. Westberg into right. Trout has a decision to make. We're going to catch it. I know Witt's going to go to third, but I think I would rather have the out than worry about where Bobby Witt is. We could have let that ball drop into foul territory. I think that's the right call. Double play would end the game. Merrill 3-2. It's a walk. Okay, well, now every base is a force out, but the winning run is at second. The Royals go to the bench. Julian Villalobos mashes against lefties, so we're going to go to the bullpen. Tony Santillan will now look for the save as JoJo Romero is unable to finish off the job. Bases loaded. 1-run game. 1 away for Villalobos, who's behind in the count 0-2. That one is on the ground. Sanabria to first, looking to go to second. He should have probably gone home originally, like before he tagged first. I mean, at least we got the out. We are going to intentionally walk the next batter anyway to set up a force out everywhere. That'll bring up Blake Mitchell to 2-0. Mitchell over the glove of Wagner, and that'll do it. The Royals walk it off. They win at 8-7, and they win the series against the White Sox. We were up 7-3 going into the bottom of the 8th. Royals got 3, and then they got 2 more in the 9th. JoJo gets the loss. He doesn't allow any earned runs, though, because of his error. We had 4. That's really bad. Ramos homered, Arozarena, Teal, Schneemann, Trout all drive-in runs. But Romero, Trout, Wagner, Sanabria all had errors. We only allowed 3 earned runs today. Will Bednar led up 3 in 6 innings, but none of them were earned. Lerma and Bobby Witt Jr. homer for the Royals. Mitch Keller wasn't great. Luis Perales wasn't great. But the back end of the bullpen cleaned it up and won it for the Royals. Pull hamstring for Shane Schmidt will be out for about a week or 2. Welcome back, Demon. Now against Cleveland, 12-5. Here in the last game of 4, Cleveland took the first 2 of 3. So we're looking to even the series up. Randy Arozarena is a triple shy of the cycle. That's not a triple, but it does go for his 4th hit of the game, a single into right. We unfortunately did not drive in either of the runners on base, but we would still win the game 12-5. So we split the series against Cleveland. Could have been worse, could have been better. We finished the 10-game road stretch 4-6. I was hoping for a little better. 6-4 was the goal. You can do a lot worse than 4-6 against these caliber of teams, but especially with 7 of the 10 games being against division rivals, I would have liked to have performed better. Now, in this game, we were great. Randy had 4 hits. Smith had 3. Bunch of guys had 2. Smith, Arozarena, Ramos, all homer. We scored 8 runs in the 5th. My God. Shout out Jagger Haynes, 3 1/3 scoreless. But what happened in that 5th? Braylon Doughty and Slade Ciccone and Luis Ortiz all really struggled. Maybe Ortiz put a parlay on it. So again, 4-6, not ideal. We dropped to 3rd. Cleveland passes us, although the Royals are falling behind a little bit, even though they won 2 of 3 against us. Randy Arozarena and Kyle Teal are both in the top 3 for MVP. Max Clark is off the list entirely. He's only hitting 355. His WAR hasn't really gone up at all. So I guess he's just not playing that spectacular here in May. Randy Arozarena is only 0.1 behind him. Coming into the day, he was behind like a full 1.5. So we're going to get through the end of May into June. I'm eyeing up this series against the Cubs. I was considering a Boston game, maybe seeing Hayden Wisniewski, but we'll go to this first game against the Rockies. We just scored 12 yesterday against Cleveland. We've got 12 again. Randy Arozarena has an 11-game hitting streak on the line, and it will not continue there. He goes down on the high fastball against Brody Brecht. We would add 2 more runs, though. Claudio Rubio, his second homer of the game. He went 4 for 5, drove in 5 runs, and we win the game 14-3. That's 26 runs over the last 2 days. As good as this offense is, I've noticed that they get a lot of runs in spurts, which can be good and can be bad. Today, we scored 10 in the first 2 innings. I don't know why they kept Hunter Barco in for so long. He let up 9 of those runs. Rubio goes deep twice, Trout homers, Caro homers, and Will Bednar had another pretty good start. 7 innings, 3 earned. So even though Caro homered, I'm getting a little worried about him. He's only hitting 200. Trout is hitting 600, for what it's worth, as we would split the last 2 games against the Rockies, who are actually currently in the playoffs. They've been quite respectable this year. Game 1 against the Astros, who have also improved a lot. We trail 3-2 in the bottom of the 8th. We've got 2 runners on and 2 away. A big spot here for our superstar, Randy Arozarena, who's hitting 362. Pops it up, slams the bat in frustration. As good as he's been over the last few weeks, as good as he's been all year. Unable to make the big play there. Houston gets out of it, and that would be the difference. The Astros take the first of 3 in Chicago by a final score of 3-2. Not the best showing for us offensively. Again, the inconsistencies at the plate continue to be noticeable. Corey Julks went 1 for 4. He's hitting 231. Cody Hosey in the 3-hole went 2 for 4. He's hitting 300. As for us, Teal homers is 17th of the year. Thorpe got the loss. He was pretty mediocre. We won the last game. We're looking to get the series win, and it's a close one here in the 9th. We're up by 1. Juan to second. Wagner makes the play. The White Sox win it 4-3. So we win the series against the Astros. So we go 4-2 in this little stretch to end May. We'll take that. Randy Arozarena homers twice. What an animal. This guy is unbelievable. Arozarena capping off a ridiculous month of May where he did not win the Player of the Month. He won the Player of the Month for April, where he hit 377, but he didn't for May. He's up to 21 homers now on the year. Will Bednar got the start, 6 innings, 1 earned. He played really well. But we do lose Mike Trout again. Sprained MCL. His roster spot will be taken by Shane Schmidt, who is off the injured list. So we're 35-24 now through the month of May, which is pretty good. 11 games over 500. We're still only in 3rd in the division, though. The Tigers are building this lead. Arozarena, though, is just insane. He homered twice in that game. He's homered 5 times in the last 10. OPS is up to 1129, and his WAR is at 4.5. 60 games in, it's 4.5. He is on pace to finish at like 11 or 12. That's nuts. He leads in average. He's second in homers. He's a little lower in RBIs because he hits leadoff, but still, he is insane. So I think I am going to play the game against the Cubs. We've got Hayden Wisniewski in the final matchup with Boston, and then we've got the Rangers, an ALDS rematch. So we split the first 2 games against Boston. This is the Hayden Wisniewski start, where he wasn't great. We're up 4-1 here in the 7th. Another former White Sox, Cianel Perez, who was on our team, I believe, all the way back in year 2. Faces off against Shane Schmidt, who ropes it down the line. It is fair. Schmidt's hit streak continues as he will go into second base, waltz in with a double. The White Sox looking to win another series against a great Boston team, for what it's worth. These guys lead the division. They are in the mix for the number 1 seed. We would add to the lead Ramos and Teal, a homer for Teal. Rafael Devers goes yard as well late. But we win at 6-2, and we end up winning the series. Drew Thorpe with a great start. 8 innings of 1-run ball. Teal, Crawford, Wagner, homer, but Thorpe was the story. He outduels his former teammate, Hayden Wisniewski, who had a great month of April, but has slowed down since. Still having a nice year, though. Against the Rangers, it is 8-2 here in the second game. We got blasted in the first one, 11-2. But now we've got the big lead, and Kyle Teal's a triple shy of the cycle. Teal hits this ball well into right. Forget a triple. I thought that was a homer for a second, but it is caught. Teal has been playing some absurdly good baseball to start the month of June. He has been raking for us. We do get the win, no score change, so we tied this series at 1 going into the Sunday rubber match as we look to win our 4th consecutive set. Jagger Haynes out of the bullpen, 5 1/3 scoreless innings. He very quietly, since being moved to the bullpen, has been awesome. Arozarena homers again, he's at 23. Teal is at 21. Ramos is at 12. Will Bednar pulled his back muscle. That's why Haynes pitched so long. We won the last game 7-2, though, and we put up 13 in this game against Boston. Arozarena homered. Teal homered. I feel like I say that about those two every game. We got smacked, though, 11-2. This is the wrong box score. But, yeah, 11-2 in the first game. We only had 4 hits. Teal homered again, as did Ramos. Those guys are playing ridiculously well. And then the last game, we won 7-2. Oh, yeah, Kyle Teal homered in that one as well. He is an absolute animal. In the first game against the Cubs, Noah Schultz gets dinged up. We lose 8-5. Teal homered again, along with Crawford. Schultz was not great before he got hurt. So Kyle Teal's at 22 home runs. He's gotten at least 20 now 4 straight years. He'll definitely get to 30 for the first time. He might get to 30 by the All-Star break. His OPS is now at about 1,100. His WAR is at about 5. And he has homered in 5 straight games. 5 in a row. That's crazy. Yet he's not in first for the MVP because that's Randy Arozarena. So now we're going to go into the second game. I really wanted to pitch with Drew Thorpe. I haven't really gotten to use him much other than finishing off the complete game earlier today. I haven't really gotten to pitch with him since he got injured last year. Kyle Teal has homered in 5 straight games. He is playing like a man possessed. And it might be a 2-horse race for the MVP between him and Randy Arozarena. Teal also has a 10-game hitting streak. Barney Wagner is hitting .366 over his last 20. But I'm excited to watch Drew Thorpe. Started the year a little slow, but he's coming back into form. And he's choosing a good time to do it because he's a free agent at the end of the year. He's made himself some money, I feel like, this season. Over his last 6, a walk and strikeout ratio of 29-6, 2.5 ERA, 1.06 whip. I mean, this is better than Thorpe has been for quite some time. He hasn't pitched this well since like year 2. It's been a while for Thorpe. Trying to live up to that big extension we gave him early in the series. As we take a look at both lineups, 1-9, largely the regular group for us. We are going to start Claudio Rubio. I wanted to reward him because he's been playing really well. And even when Mike Trout comes back, I don't think I'm going to take him off the roster. So here's Thorpe, his 14th start of the year, 3.66 ERA, 1.27 whip. He's got a really strong Cubs lineup. This Chicago team is very good. As James Trianto swings and misses on the slider. The Cubs right now are the number 1 seed in the National League. So that's what's at stake here. Willie Aguila pops it into left. It's caught by Rubio. So far in the season series, the Cubs have beaten us 3 out of 4 times. So if we want to at least draw, we've got to win these last 2. Good inning for Thorpe. We'll go bottom half of the first as it's Ben Kurdna in for the Cubs. He's had a really good year in 65 innings, 2.91 ERA, 1.18 whip. Pitching like an all-star for Chicago. As Shane Schmidt is up with 2 away. Count is even, 1-1 for Schmidt, and this one is rocked over to second. Schmidt hasn't been bad this year. I was hoping for more of a leap, though. I think the power especially has been a little disappointing. I think he's still in the single digits in terms of home runs. Colton Cowser up for the Cubs. He's having a nice year, 304, draws a walk. Really talented player when healthy, but that was the problem with Cowser in Baltimore. He could not stay on the field. Moses Ballesteros is up for Chicago. The catcher, that one is sent up the middle, gets by the glove of Ramos. Cubs are going to send the runner to third. That ball was rolling slow in the outfield. And Chicago's got guys on first and third and a really good opportunity to strike first here in Game 2 in the South Side. Chase DeLauder, the former East Carolina Pirate, is up for the Cubs. The 1-1. That one gets away from Teal. It's not going to score the run, but it does move Ballesteros at first over to second, which gets rid of the force out, which prevents us from potentially getting a double play. DeLauder strikes out on the cutter, and now we've got a huge at-bat. 2 on, 2 away for the shortstop, Trey Sweeney. The count is full, and he draws a walk. So the bases are loaded for the number 9 hitter, the backup catcher, Colin Price, a 31-year-old with very limited big league experience, has never homered in his career. This one is just inches away from doing so. It goes off the wall. Cubs get 2. Looking for 3. A bases clearing double for Colin Price, and Chicago, let me specify, the Cubs lead 3-0. Bottom 2, great pitch by Kurdna as he gets Edgar Caro to go down looking. We'll move into the third. James Triantos goes down looking on the inside slider. That pitch was mislocated severely, but, I mean, we still got the out. The Polar Bear, Pete Alonso, hits it well into center despite it being out of the zone. But Justin Crawford will make the play. It remains 3-0. Better inning for Thorpe. Our bullpen is kind of gassed at the moment. We've asked a lot of them lately. So I'm kind of hoping we can get Thorpe to go like 5-6 innings at least. We need him to pitch better. Although he's had 2 good innings out of 3. Wagner draws a walk, and that'll bring you up Claudio Rubio! The hot hand stays en fuego! 423 into right center, and the lead is within 1. Claudio Rubio's playing out of his mind right now. His 5th home run of the year. I mean, he very quietly has had like a really good career with us. He's played a full season's worth of games at this point. His career OPS is like 800. I mean, the guy hits. We kind of just have to keep him on the roster at this point. We're certainly not going to send him down once Mike Trout is healthy. As Wagner draws the walk, and Kyle Teal joins the club. 6 games in a row with a home run. Teal continues his streak. 444 into center. The all-time record for consecutive games with a home run is 8. Set by multiple players. Don Mattingly did it. Ken Griffey Jr. did it. Kyle Teal is close. The week he has had for us has been unbelievable. He has been unstoppable. 4-3 White Sox lead into the 4th. Moses Ballesteros' second hit of the game. It rolls to the wall. Rubio gets to it quickly, but it is a 1-out double for the Cubs. This game quickly turning into kind of a high-scoring clash. Trey Sweeney up with 2 away. Ballesteros now at 3rd. Behind in the count 1-2. Thorpe looking to shut the door on this inning as it's popped into left. Rubio is under it. He'll make the play. And it remains 4-3 as we move into the bottom of the 4th. Again, other than that second inning, I think Drew Thorpe's pitched a reasonably good game. Brian Ramos goes down on the fastball. Good pitch by Kurdna. Ramos' is average up to 283. He's been our 3rd best hitter this year. Other than Randy and Kyle Teal. He's been the next best guy. Smith draws a walk. Rubio pops it up. Does not homer for a second time, as it is caught by Ballesteros. Remains 4-3. We will move into the 5th. Cubs looking to get that spark going again. We, meanwhile, only have 2 hits. The 2 home runs. That's it. To start the 5th, Colin Price gets a hold of this one. Nearly got his first career homer in the 2nd. He'll make sure this one actually makes it over. What a game for the 31-year-old backup catcher who had 4 RBIs for his career coming into the night. He's doubled that in 5 innings. They're not done, though. The very next batter, Jace Young, into right. Over the Cubs bullpen, 4-11 for the lead. This is definitely where I would take Drew Thorpe out of the game normally, but as I said earlier, our bullpen is gassed. We need Thorpe to go a little longer today. James Triantos does not make it 3 in a row, thankfully, as he goes down on the high cutter. Good pitch by Thorpe. Willie Aguila now up for Chicago, and he gets a hold of this one into center. Crawford can only watch it fly. 427, and that'll make it 6-4. 3 homers in the last 4 batters, and at this point, we've just got to take him out. I really wanted to keep him in longer. But, yeah, this was a mistake, and we are going to pull the plug now before it gets worse. So Thorpe's night is over, not his day. 4 1/3 innings, that's up 6 runs. Replacing him out of the bullpen will be the free agent signee, Jose A. Ferrer. The lefty's been all right this year, 3.62 ERA. Definitely not as good as he was last year with the Mets, but still, he's been pretty good. Pete Alonso, the 1-1. Alonso sends this one into right, not a homer. But that is a base hit. It will nearly bounce over the fence for a ground rule double. Instead, it's a regular double with a good relay throw by Rosarena. So the Cubs have the runner in scoring position. 2 away now for Ballesteros, who's 2 for 2. Looking to make it 3 for 3. Sends it into right. That should score Alonso, and it will. 7-4 lead for the Cubs. A big offensive inning for Chicago. They've scored 4, but why stop now? Chase DeLauder into the bullpen. 2-run shot, and it's 9-4. A 6 spot here in the 5th for Chicago. So maybe it doesn't even matter if Drew Thorpe pitches. The Cubs are just going to mash the baseball anyway. So Jose A. Ferrer lets up 3, and we're going to take him out here. He certainly did not have his best day. We'll go to another free agent signing, Johnny Brito, who we brought in from the Padres. He's been a little disappointing, but certainly not bad. 3.96 ERA. Lefties are hitting .313 off of him, though. Trey Sweeney, 1-1 up the middle. Ramos blocks it, but there is no throw to first. The Cubs will have officially batted around. It was Colin Price who started the inning with the early homer. This one goes into left. Huh? What? That was right in front of him. Why did he not catch it? It's 10-4. What was he doing? Claudio, my brother in Christ. Colin Price has more RBIs today than he had in his whole career. Rubio makes the catch this time. Not before the Cubbies score 7. They lead at 10-4. This game got ugly fast. We've got to get rolling. We have not gotten any base hits other than the 2 homers. Casey Mize is out of the bullpen for Chicago. No reason to stick with the starter when you're up by 6. Rosarena. That pitch was in the zone for strike 3. We need our stars to start this rally. Neither Rosarena or Teal do. In the 6th, Triantos. Okay, what is happening? First Rubio, now Crawford. For the love of God, guys, catch the ball. That one gets away from Teal. Runner over to third. This team looks completely out of sorts right now. What is happening? It looks like a big circus defensively. So runners at third here for Pete Alonso. Goes down looking. Nice pitch by Johnny Brito for the second out of the frame. Now Colton Cowser, 2-1. Cowser pops it up. So at least we're going to get out of the inning with no harm done. But this defense, man, what is happening? Twice now, our outfielders forgot to field the ball. We might have to check their DraftKings accounts. That would be the only explanation. Shane Schmidt thought he had a ball there. Does not get the call. Got him looking. Good pitch by the former #1 overall selection out of Auburn, Casey Mize. Brian Ramos, 3-1, hits this one high and deep into right. Back at the track, at the wall. It is gone! Another homer for red hot Ramos. And that'll make it 10-5. His 14th of the year. Ramos is technically a platoon guy because he doesn't play against lefties. Yet he continues to be our third best hitter. Justin Crawford joins the party. Is there room for one more? Over the bullpen, 408. Back-to-back home runs for Chicago. Don't look now, the White Sox are not out of this game. We have it within 4, and our offense is mashing the ball. Sure, we only have 4 hits, but we have 4 homers. Cam Smith goes down on the fastball. Sox add a pair. Back-to-back home runs. Ramos and Crawford, as we'll move into the 7th. Dylan Coleman, a Rule 5 pick, 9.33 ERA. He hasn't been very good, but we don't have that many choices here out of the bullpen right now. 2 away, 1-2. Trey Sweeney swinging a miss. So, of course, it's the guy with an ERA nearly at 10 who gets out of the inning, yet none of our other pitchers can. This is a weird sport. Daniel Palencia out of the bullpen here for the Cubs in the bottom of the 7th. A 10-6 lead for the Cubbies as Barney Wagner draws a walk, his second. Let's just stack some base runners, try to continue this little rally. We've got a little bit of momentum, I feel like, as Kyle Teal does it again! This guy is unbelievable! 7 homers in his last 6 games. How does he keep doing it? Why do pitchers keep pitching to him? 24 home runs for Kyle Teal. He set his career high last year at 29. He might surpass that this month. Hell, he might surpass that this week if he continues this streak. I mean, holy cow. The lead is within 2. It's now 10-8. And we only have 5 hits, and they're all homers. Victor Vodnik is out of the bullpen here for Chicago. This quickly is turning into like the weirdest, most hilarious game ever. Are we going to get an actual hit that stays in the park at any point in this game? Shane Schmidt, there it is! Single into center field. That's the first base hit That was not a homer for us all day. Yet we have 8 runs as Carroll lines out to first. Good scoop. Sox had 2 more, though, with the homer by Kyle Teel. 10-8 going into the 8th. Teal's second of the game. He's at 24 on the year. He's on pace to get over 50. Do we have our own big dumper, perhaps? Tony Santillan out of the bullpen. He's been a disappointment. ERA at 6 after a great year last season as Colin Price gets his 4th hit of the game. Who is this guy and why is he so good? We are definitely regretting giving Santillan that second year on that free agent contract. He's under contract for next year. Chase Young swinging a miss on the fastball. He's having a great year. Bounced around a little bit with Detroit and the Astros by way of Texas Tech. James Triantos hits this one well in the left. Rubio at the track, at the wall, it's gone! Another home run. I mean, these fans have been treated to a spectacle. That's 20 combined runs today. These two teams are putting on a home run derby. It's 12-8 in favor of the Cubs. Pete Alonso 1-2. Another one bites the dust. Alonso into left center, and it's 13-8. Santillan lets up 3 in this inning. Big meat Pete up to 12. It's a 5-run lead for the Cubs, and we've got to go to the bullpen again. I didn't want to use all of our relievers, but we didn't have a choice because everyone's playing like booty. So it'll be Jagger Haynes, who we're hoping will go the rest of the way. Probably should have done this earlier. 4.25 ERA. He's been, again, excellent out of the bullpen, whether it's been 3-4 innings at a time or maybe he only needs to get a couple of outs. As he lets this one go into the air, into left. Rubio after it, makes the catch. But not before the Cubs get 3 more. A 2-run homer by James Triantos, and then Pete Alonso sends one into the seats as well. 13-8. We've got to get some base runners. We've got to get some hits. Yes, we've hit the ball well for power, but we're not hitting for any kind of contact. Steven Johnson is out of the bullpen for the Cubs, 5.73, as he will start things off with Justin Crawford, who is one of the multiple White Sox to homer in this game. Up the middle. No scoop. It's blocked, but Justin Crawford is safe at first with 1 away. Could this be the start of our big rally? Cam Smith now is average up to 241. Impressive because at the start of May it was like 150. Into center, that goes for a hit. Crawford digs for third. We've got runners on the corners, and all it takes is a couple big hits, and we are firmly back into the game. Still got some work to do down by 5. Claudio Rubio draws a walk, and the bases are loaded. Cubs are going to go to the pen. It's Jason Foley. He's had a nice year, 2.94 ERA for the longtime Detroit Tigers. So a guy who we're used to, and he's used to us. Barney Wagner's up. He's ahead 3-1. Walk would bring in a run. This should bring in at least 1, maybe more. At the track, at the wall, it's gone! Grand slam! Barney Wagner! The lead is within 1. It's 13-12. Third home run of the year. He hasn't hit for much power, but he chose a good time to put one in the seats. 6 home runs today for the White Sox. I mean, this game just has everything. If you love offense, I'm sure this has been an absolute treat. Full count for Kyle Teel. This one is on the ground. Play should be made. Throw to first is in time. So the Cubs score 3. We get 4 with the grand slam by Wagner. How do we still have a chance to win this game? Or better yet, how do we have 12 runs and are losing? That is embarrassing. Pitching and defense have not been good. 1-run deficit into the 9th. Trey Sweeney with 2 away goes down on the fastball. Good inning for Jagger Haynes as we go to the bottom half. The Cubs are going to bring in their closer, Brandon Williamson. None of their other pitchers have been very good. Maybe he can right the ship. Won the reliever of the year just 2 years ago with the rival Cincinnati. Traded to Kansas City, then goes over to the Cubs. 19 of 23 in save ops with an ERA at 2. Shane Schmidt nearly ties it to start the inning. That one goes just foul. That was close. Schmidt checked his swing, went around for strike 3. Ballesteros having trouble locating the ball. Throw to first, not in time! And the tying run is aboard. We're going to have Daniel Schneemann coming off the bench for Brian Ramos. I get Ramos has been great this year, and he homered earlier, but their closer, Williamson's a lefty. And Ramos isn't very good against lefties. Schneemann is. Not to mention, he's our late game demon. The Cubs know that, and so they don't want to pitch to him. He draws a walk. Tyne runs at second. The winning run is at first. With one away for Justin Crawford. He gets a hold of it into center. That one will be caught. I thought about moving Schmidt up. There's not really a point, though. You know, we probably should bring in a pinch runner for him because he is quite slow. So Richie Lindsay makes his way over to second base. 2 away, 2 on. It's Cam Smith. He had some big hits for us last year. He had a couple walk-off homers. This one is lined into right, and it is caught. The Cubs win a thriller. If you love offense, this game must have been a blast to watch. 13-12. The Cubbies get the job done. They win the second game of the series. So they win the series again. They're 4-1 against us so far this year. I think this might be the strangest game we've played in this series because on one hand, we scored 12 runs. We homered 6 times. Obviously, the offense did enough to win the game, but they weren't perfect. They didn't get that many base runners, yet we were excellent when we got guys on. The pitching was obviously not good. We allowed 15 hits, and they homered 6 times by 6 different players. And not to mention, we had those 2 defensive plays, Rubio and Crawford in the outfield, where they both completely butchered on balls. And if not for that, particularly the one by Rubio, we could have won the game. So it was a game that we could have easily taken and had some mistakes on both sides, but we scored 12 runs. Kyle Teel has homered 7 times in the last 6 games, including 6 games in a row, 8 times in the last 10. He's slugging 1,000 in that stretch. And now we're going to get through the rest of June. One more game against the Cubs, then a 9-game West Coast road trip with the A's, Padres, and Angels, and then back at home against the Rays and the Pirates to finish up the episode. Mike Trout is back. We're not sending Claudio Rubio down because he is balling. So instead, we are going to send down Richie Lindsay, who hasn't played all that well since we brought him up. So here in the final game against the Cubs, we're looking to avoid the sweep. It's 7-5 in the bottom of the 7th. Kyle Teel swinging a miss. The game brought us in for his hit streak, but really the 6-game home run streak, I'd argue, is a little more significant. Although he would get another opportunity. The offense came up clutch down the stretch. Justin Crawford, 2-run double. Wouldn't it be poetic for Kyle Teel to walk the game off with a homer? That'd be sick. Now, the problem is it's against the lefty and Jordan Wicks. Runner goes for second. He's out. A homer would obviously still win the game, but now that's the only way we could win the game right here. Full count, the 3-2. Swing and a miss on the slider. Jordan Wicks gets the Cubs out of the 9th inning. We'll see if we can get the job done. Sure enough, in the bottom of the 10th, we would. Edgar Caro brings home Kyle Teel for the win, so the home run streak ends at 6. But Kyle Teel does score the winning run, and we avoid the sweep. Alonso homers. Colin Price homers again. Back-to-back games of the homer, so maybe he's just that guy. Cam Smith, Randy Arozarena, Daniel Schneemann, and Edgar Caro homer. Has there been a game this year where one of Teel or Caro did not homer? Mike Trout, fractured wrist. I mean, this is becoming a problem with him. As good of a player as he has been throughout his career, the medical has obviously been the issue, and the guy's played in 10 games this year. He's been amazing in those 10 games, but at 39 years old, his body has given up on him. Richie Lindsay will be called up, and we're going to move 6 games into the future. We got swept by the Athletics, but we scored 26 runs in the first 2 games against San Diego, winning both of them, and now we're looking to sweep the Padres, who are a pretty good team. On the road in San Diego, top of the 9th, tied at 3. We've got 2 on. Randy Rodriguez on the bump against Daniel Schneemann here with 2 away. And that ball's going to drop. Arozarena will score. Schmidt to third. He is out. But the run does come in. An RBI for Schneemann. He brings home Randy Arozarena. It's a 4-3 game with the bottom of the order due up for San Diego. Matt McLain would get aboard. I don't know why they didn't have Romero in then. Maybe because McLain hits lefties really well. I guess that would make sense. The 1-2 for Leodales De Vries is hit into right, and that is going to drop 62 off the bat, but that's all Leo needs. McLain for third. He is safe, despite a really good throw by Cam Smith. But now there's runners on the corners. Tying run is at third, winning run is at first, and Ethan Salas might have just called game. Into the left center gap. That should tie it with ease. That should end it with ease. There's no need for a play at the plate. Salas walks it off, and the Padres avoid getting swept. They win at 5-4. Still a good series, though, for us. We won the first game 17-6, and then the second game 9-4. But we don't hold on in this one. Kyle Teal does homer, and Randy Arozarena goes 4 for 5. Everybody else does not much. Will Bednar was okay. Bullpen, other than JoJo, was honestly pretty good. But we cannot ask these two-star players to carry us every game on offense, as good as they are. Claudio Rubio pulled his calf. He'll be out for about a week or two. He'll be put on the 10-day injured list. But we do get some good news injury-wise. Grant Holmes, we can take him off of the 60-day. And Bruno Merced is back. So we're going to start with Dylan Coleman. I know he's been playing better as of recent. He's been playing a lot better. But I don't really have anybody else I can send down. So we're going to put him on waivers, being our Rule 5 pick. And then I'm going to send down Will Bednar with the second spot. I think he's been more than okay for us. I think he's been solid. But we can afford to do this because Jagger Haynes is playing out of his mind over the last 10. 2.38 ERA, 0.97 whip. Maybe he's just better in the bullpen. But I'm going to give him another shot in the rotation, and then Grant Holmes will be the long reliever. We do still have the roster spot. We need another bat. I'm going to bring up Jason Morabel, who's hitting about 330. Against the Angels, we're up 4-2. We won the first two games and are looking for the sweep. Luca Mistretta on the ground. This should do it. 5, 4, 3. The White Sox get the job done, sweeping the Angels in Anaheim. And the Angels are respectable. There is not a bad team in the American League. Everybody is within 10 games of 500. Everybody's in the mix for a playoff spot, including some of the lower tier franchises like the Angels. Shane Schmidt homers. Quieter game for our star players in this one, believe it or not. Jason Morabel drives in a couple of runs. Good to see him producing early. And then Drew Thorpe, 7 innings, 2 earned. Very nice outing from him. A big rebound from that Cubs game. Ryan Gusto, pretty solid for them as well. We only took one at home against the Rays. Now here against the Pirates, it is scoreless in the bottom of the 8th inning of Game 1. There's been no offense to speak of. Barney Wagner looks to change that as it is caught in the outfield. Wagner had a hitting streak on the line. Unfortunately, he will not get the hit streak, but our offense was able to get rolling. Shane Schmidt with an RBI single, and Edgar Caro with a grand slam to help us win the first of 3 at home against the Pirates, 5-0. Pittsburgh's pretty much a 500 ball club. Remember last year they were around 500, snuck into the wild card, upset the Dodgers, and then nearly beat the Giants in the second round. They did get a late homer for Wyatt Sanford, but it won't matter. Really good start from both guys. For the Pirates on the bump, it was Landon Knack, 7 scoreless, and then Jake Cousins blew it. You can tell a member of the Cousins family struggling in a night game, not out of the ordinary. Noah Schultz, 7 scoreless. He was terrific as we move into the last game. We got smacked in the second one, 6-2. We're down 6-5 here in the 9th of Game 3. Wagner on the ground. This should end it. No, he's safe. Bad throw by the shortstop. Are they going to call that an error or just a good hustle? They did not call it an error. It was not a very good throw, though, by Anthony Volpe, or Volpe 6. As Jason Morabel puts it in the air, this should do it now for good, as it's caught by our good friend MJ Melendez, one of my favorite players in the Marlins series a few years back. Pirates win the game 6-5. They win the series. So kind of the disappointing end to the episode for us. We only take 2 of 4 at home against the Rays and the Pirates. We had the sweep against the Athletics. We lost 2 of 3 against the Cubs. But we're still having a good year. Definitely better than last year. Ramos homered, Caro homered. They have 17 and 18 respectively. That is a lot. For most teams, that would lead them. But we have Randy and Kyle Teal. Some of the highlights over the last couple of weeks include 17 against San Diego. Wagner, Arozarena, Schmidt, Caro, and Cam Smith, all homer. They went deep 4 times as well. Caglione, Tatis, Dominguez, and Salas scored 9 in the second game. Schmidt, Smith, Crawford homer. Schwellenbach with the win. Caglione and Dominguez both homer again for San Diego. Swept the Angels, but then again, kind of a poor finish. So we do actually have the lead in the AL Central. The Tigers are kind of falling apart. What's interesting, though, is Minnesota, who started the year 3-17. They're now 500, and they are firmly in the race. Everybody in the American League is in the mix. Dead last, Toronto is only 6 games out of a wild card spot. Now, the National League has some really bad teams, but in the AL, everybody's good. Or at least everybody's competitive. Kyle Teal's really cooled off over the last 10. OPS is still above 1,000. He's still a unicorn. Randy Arozarena has not cooled off. He hasn't cooled off at all once this year. He's at 29 homers. He's hitting .355, 6.2 WAR. He is on pace to get like 12. That's ridiculous. Other than those two guys, though, we do have another player with an OPS above 1,000. Brian Ramos is having the best year of his career. He's already surpassed his career high in WAR by a lot, and he's picked the right time to do it. He's a free agent at the end of the year. He'll only be 29 next year. I have the feeling he is going to make a lot of money on the open market. The pitching's been good, too. Noah Schultz had a good episode. Spencer Schwellenbach was good. Ezra Valenzuela, very quietly over his last 10. 2.65 ERA, 1.07 whip. He has really figured this whole starting pitching thing out. Still has some work to do. Hasn't been perfect, but he's gotten a lot better. I'm still not sure if this will be a permanent thing. I mean, it will be for the rest of this year. After this year, I don't know. But if he continues to play like this, then I don't see why not. Next episode, we'll get through July, the All-Star break, the draft. We will go through the trade deadline probably and start August. I want to get the season done in 2 more episodes. So I think that's our plan right now. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.